Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. It is a beautiful day to be announcing $3.7 million to help upgrade heating and cooling systems in the Ellington schools. 3 schools are going to be benefiting: Center School, Ellington Middle, and also Ellington High Schools. And we are just so delighted to announce this important funding. This is part of a $450 million investment that our state is making in upgrading the air quality in our schools. And I think the pandemic really put a spotlight on the air quality in our schools. And we wanted to make sure that school districts had the opportunity to fix boilers, install new heating and ventilation components, air conditioning, and other kinds of air quality enhancers in our schools. And I'll tell you that this was a competitive process. There is $450 million allocated that is going out in $150 million tranches. And Ellington should be congratulated for having projects that were ready to go, because that's really what the state looked at when determining which school districts would get this funding. And one of the reasons that Ellington's funding rose to the top is because of the advocacy of your legislative delegation. So thank you to Senator Kissel and to Representative Jamie Foster for their advocacy, and congratulations to the facilities folks at the Ellington Public Schools that put in an excellent application. This is something that's going to be really important for the health of our students, but also for the teachers and staff and families that spend a lot of time in our schools as well. We know that there are some school districts that for the first time are going to be getting air conditioning in their schools, because so many of our schools were built 50 years ago, 60 years ago, 100 years ago, and have not had their infrastructure and air quality improved since those buildings were built. So this is going to be transformational for schools across the state, and the governor and I are so delighted that Ellington is going to be benefiting from that. So with that, it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Scott Nickel, the superintendent of schools, for a couple of words.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Welcome to Ellington on this beautiful day. We have a lot of amazing people here behind me, board members from Liz Nord, Gary Blanchett, Miriam Underwood, Jennifer Mullen, Steve Veens, and our board chair, Jennifer Zen. And of course, we have our representatives Foster and Kissel, as mentioned by the Lieutenant Governor. And also, our first selectman, Lori Spielman, is here with us today, so welcome. And this is a great occasion. Folks, we are at Center School, which is in the center of Ellington, right? Right behind you in front of me is the town hall. About 100 yards down the road on Main Street is Arbor Park, where we have our farmers market. Another 200 yards down the road is our town green, and it is a beautiful, beautiful place to come and visit. A great place to raise your family. It is a great place to enroll your children in school. And I will also mention, whether you live in Ellington or you live in the north end of Hartford, which we have approximately 3% of our population comes from the north end of Hartford through the Hartford Choice Program. We consider those families and those children part of the Ellington family, and they are always most welcome to be here. I did want to mention to the Lieutenant Governor, if on your way out to your next destination, we are in our lunchtime frame here. There are many great spots that you to choose from, and I must say, lunch made with real food, free of disease-causing chemicals, just real food that I think that you would love to sample on your way out if you are so inclined. As the Lieutenant Governor mentioned, three projects at the high school, middle school, and center school that we are going to be discussing here today. But I'd be remiss if I did not mention our other two schools. Crystal Lake Elementary School, about 8 years ago, finished up a building project. The heating and cooling systems there are up to par, so we're very pleased with that. And most of you know, we have a pending renovate to new building project at Windermere. This is a 700 student school that the project is due to be completed by 2025. And for those of you in town who are eligible to vote, on Tuesday, May 23rd, we have our budget referendum, but we also have an additional question on the Windermere building project that we hope that you will participate in this democratic process and cast a vote whichever way you feel fit. So now if we talk about the three projects that we have, and I want to talk about the process here. So yes, our representatives in the legislature advocated for the Ellington, and we thank them very much for that. We thank the governor, lieutenant governor's support in allocating these monies. But it's really, really important to acknowledge the work at the local level because it's challenging. It often goes unnoticed. I can mention, and the governor, lieutenant governor alluded to this, in that our director of finance and operations, Ryan Greenleaf, he anticipated the fall 2022 announcement of these grants. So in that summer of 2022, he made sure that we had a full, complete assessment of all of the heating and cooling needs in the 5 schools in Ellington. So when the grants were announced in the fall of 2022, we had that work already done. We also know that there was a very, very tight timeline to get the applications put on by the state by December 1st. And so the only way you move through the local governance process from a Board of Education, a Board of Finance, and a Board of Selectmen to bring something that has to go to referendum is to have great relationships, shared service, bipartisan working together. And if you have those trusting relationships, you are able to move things through in the local government and get it to a point where the community is able to make a decision and support it via referendum if they wish. And quite frankly, this community supported this project with nearly a 3-to-1 vote, 75% in favor of this project. So we are very pleased with that. Now this is a short-term gain for us. Great work by all of us from the state level to the local level to get these projects through, no question. Where I will close is there was a time and place in Hartford and Ellington, Pomfret, Greenwich, where when projects such as this, roofing, heating and cooling, sidewalks, fixing the roads, where economic conditions were such where you could actually budget it within your own municipality budget, and that includes Hartford, and take care of these projects without a state or federal grant subsidized by tax dollars. That time did exist. And I believe that we collectively, we continue down this road of working well together, if we believe it's possible to reverse that trend and move back to creating economic conditions by which a local town municipality like Hartford or like Ellington is able to budget for heating and cooling, fix the town roads within their own budget, free of a grant. That would be a good day, and I think that day will come in the next 10 to 20 years, and I want to make sure that we acknowledge that possibility. It'll exist if the people of this great state of Connecticut, the people of this great country, know that it can occur. That's where we're at, and I appreciate the time, and I'll turn it back over to Lieutenant Governor.
Thank you so much. Dr. Nickel just mentioned economic growth, and I do want to point out one really great component of investment in HVAC infrastructure is the creation of good jobs in the building trades, because it's going to take the work of electrical workers, plumbers, pipe fitters, and other skilled people to do this important work. So this is also really a jobs benefit and a benefit to our economy in the state as schools around our state use this funding to build out this infrastructure. And now I'd like to introduce Senator John Kissel.
Thank you very much, Lieutenant Governor, for inviting me to attend here. And wow, Superintendent Nickel, I don't know what office you're going to run for in the future, but you're a dynamite speaker. This is an exciting project. I want to extend my the wishes, the very positive wishes from my two colleagues in the Senate that could not be here. That's Senator Gordon and Senator Saud Anwar. Both physicians, so when they're not working for their constituents in Hartford, they need to shepherd that time and use it for their patients out in the district and where they serve. And so they wanted to make sure that I said that they extend their very best wishes. The other person, and I can't congratulate or thank the Lieutenant Governor enough for her spearheading all of these initiatives, but the name that I haven't heard yet, and it's Governor Lamont. And Dr. Nichols did point out the public-private partnership. I have to say that when this bill regarding air quality first came before the Senate a few years ago, I was very hesitant. I think I may have even voted no, because I didn't want an unfunded mandate on our municipalities. That would have been unfair. And to find another $3+ million to do this in a town like Ellington, then on top of my 7 other towns, that would have been a difficult burden, as the good doctor points out. There was a time where towns could take it and run with it, but very difficult right now. And both Governor Lamont and Lieutenant Governor Bysiewicz has made sure that we have a really robust public-private partnership so that we don't hesitate on these initiatives that are so important to our health, not only the health of the students, the pupils, the children of Ellington and the surrounding towns that are going to get grants, but the professional educators, the teachers and administrators, even maintenance personnel, anybody that's in these facilities will benefit ultimately. And I've had an opportunity to go down to Meriden, where the trades union apprentice facility is, and the Lieutenant Governor is absolutely correct. This is also a jobs initiative. So public health, jobs, quality of life, public-private, public partnership between the state and the municipalities, terrific. And the last thing I'll say is it's a tremendous honor for me to share representation not only with my 2 other senators, but with Representative Jamie Foster, who is just super dedicated, and having been on the Ellington board, she is so close to the ground on things like this, and you are just so lucky to have her as your state rep. So congratulations to one and all the great local folks here, and Madam First Selectwoman, for this great day. It doesn't get any better than this. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. State Representative Jamie Foster.
Hi everybody, it's a real pleasure to be here today. I think we've heard all of the reasons why these projects are going to be a really great benefit to our town and why this type of program is really excellent. But I thought it would be a little helpful to talk procedurally about how we got to a bill that allowed these grants and a bond bill that was voted on and approved that allowed for us to fund these projects. In my early time in the legislature, one of the
Getting
things...
rid of the spider on you.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. In my early time in the legislature, I was really actively involved with local leaders, but also local staff in the school buildings and parents who had young children in the district. And what I will tell you is there was a resounding sense of urgency around improving air quality in schools. That came from parents, that came from teachers, and that came across the board. There was a bill before the Education Committee to do just that, to require significant investments in improving the indoor air quality at schools. But unfortunately, this was one of the times where local organized efforts of the teachers union and administration did not sync up in what they were able to fund and offer. And that is okay, that happens. It's my job as a legislator, it's Senator Kissel's job as a legislator, and the executive branch's job to find the balance and response between them. When we funded this bond package, when we voted to ensure that this tranche of money was available for schools to apply for, that was after significant negotiations occurred between trying to reach resolution that would make faculty and staff comfortable in their working conditions and local boards of education and leadership comfortable with the financial investments that would be required. This bill gets us part of the way there. we are going to get there in all of the schools in Ellington. I have 2 more districts that I represent that we have to make progress on, and we will get there. And I am so happy that Ellington was able to sort of jump to this opportunity. And I think the reason why that worked out so well, and I'm so glad, is because, as Dr. Nickel mentioned, Brian Greenleaf hopped on the calls with me when we were in negotiation. We talked about it. We were a little worried that the amount of funding wasn't going to get to a point where we could get all the schools, but Ellington got lucky. We're really in a great position where we're on the front lines getting these projects and grants underway. And I'm happy when I can deliver something that makes all interested parties happy. And that's not always going to happen, but this is one of those victories. This is one of those victories where we were able to get to a point where we can give teachers, administration, staff, parents, children, and boards of education what they're looking for. And so anytime that we can deliver on a victory where we can get all the parties in the room happy, I think we should celebrate. But I'm really grateful to be here. I'm so grateful for the Lieutenant Governor for coming and caring so much about Ellington. You're here a lot, and we really appreciate your attention on our district. And I'm really grateful to work with this team, because it's a team that works together and delivers results, and it's nice to be here.
Thank you so much, Representative. And now it's my pleasure to bring up First Select Woman Lori Spielman.
Thank you so much. I want to thank everybody that worked so hard on this. It's very important. And as a representative of all our taxpayers in Ellington, that you don't realize this has been ongoing for the last 10, 12 years, going to capital improvements for HVAC. And there was other more important things coming up, but we just didn't have the extra money. So we couldn't do this, and it's so important now that we have grants, and thanks to our Lieutenant Governor and our Governor, so many people, that it's really important that our schools and our community moves on. And I want to thank everybody, and Jamie Foster for always helping us out. Thank you.
Excellent. Lori, thank you so much. I think the job that is the hardest of any in local government is the job of serving on a board of education, because the meetings are often very long. Everybody has an opinion and feels very strongly about that opinion. So I want to thank the Board of Ed members who are here for your diligence and for investing in our children's future. And Jennifer Zen, you're the board chair. Would you come up and say a few words on behalf of your fellow board members?
I want to let all of the board members know that I'm doubling their salary today after such a great success. And I want to thank everybody for being here today. Lieutenant Governor, Jamie, Mr. Kissel, thank you so much. Ellington is one of 20 towns in Connecticut that is receiving this HVAC grant funding because of the expedient and the decisive actions taken by not only the Ellington Board of Education, but also the Ellington Board of Finance and Board of Selectmen working together. It's through that collaboration that the approval of our residents in town, we cannot forget that their approval was paramount in this going forward, helped us obtain this funding. And I just want to remind everyone that thinking about and acting locally will always benefit our community. So thank you. Thanks everyone for being here.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, anyone else want to put in a word? All right, well, we thank everybody for coming today. And with that, thanks for having us, Dr. Nickel.
Yeah,
Appreciate
absolutely.
it.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Excellent.